we're good to go.
So, third outing, you guys. So, we are so stoked about this. When Chase and we spoke about this a while back. We've been speaking about this for a month, right? So when Chase said, we have the exact mechanism to cut down your customer acquisition costs, I was like, no way. And Chase is like, I'm gonna show you. So I am as stoked as you guys are. So so a little bit about Chase. Chase is the founder of Iintent, Lords of LinkedIn, and he's done a lot of cool stuff. I'm gonna let him speak about that. He's the only one who will be able to do justice to that. So we'll be covering a lot of stuff today, very intense and interesting. So we'll be talking about identifying resolution, retargeting. Chase will get to that a while later. So we'll also be talking about creating custom and lookalike audiences, how to reclaim your lost sales with emails, and a lot more. We'll also look at how to use the Iintent platform to personalize your sales funnel, and we'll have a QA at the end. So let's get started. Over to you, Chase.
Sweet. First off, great to meet everyone. Thanks so much for jumping on. As Venkat said, we've been kind of talking about doing this for a while. So what I'm going to do is just kind of share my screen, and I think you guys have gone to a couple of these webinars with them already. So we'll keep it pretty tactical, and I'll give a little bit of background on kind of myself and what I do just for context. But ideally, at the end of this presentation, I want you guys to walk away with a couple of key things. Let me just put this into present mode. So number one, basically iOS 14 proofing your business. So if you're an e-com store owner, you've more than likely been affected by the changes on Facebook and the retargeting, window going down from 60 days to 7 days. There's a lot of different things going on in Facebook right now that are making it more difficult to scale up and actually increasing customer acquisition costs for a lot of people. So I want to kind of walk you guys through how to use machine learning and data science to make that relevant for your business, drop your customer acquisition costs, and scale your e-com store. And we're going to do this in a way that you probably haven't seen before, using some different types of technology that we've been developing over the past few years. And so if anyone has questions as we're going through this, feel free to drop them in the chat box. I like to keep it open discussion style, and that way if you guys do have questions, we can just kind of knock those out and we'll do Q&A at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it. So main problems that I want to help you guys solve, and that I'm currently helping other e-com store owners solve in my business, is overcoming the retargeting window, being able to still actually get the customer acquisition costs you want, regardless of the retargeting window and the tracking that you're losing from Facebook. Facebook obviously has less data as a result of not having the tracking and retargeting, which means basically you're paying more for worse outcomes right now. And unfortunately, it's affecting not just e-commerce owners, but pretty much anyone who runs ads. And so there are ways outside of Facebook that you can actually, foolproof your business and make sure that that doesn't affect you. And so where a lot of that comes from, and what not a lot of people think about, is that they don't actually own or control their data. So most people, if you own an e-com store or if you're running ads for any kind of offer, you're going into Google, or you're going into YouTube, you're going into Facebook or display ads platform, and you're essentially buying targeting. So you're renting, or I apologize, you're renting targeting from those platforms, and you don't actually own or control that data, and you don't really know who you're going after. And so that obviously limits you. When Facebook or Google makes changes, you don't have a choice because you're paying them to use their platform, and it's going to affect your business whether you like it or not. And ultimately, that means that your ad accounts and your targeting can get shut down or be negatively impacted at any time. And your business is really always at risk if you're constantly relying on other platforms to do your targeting for you and to optimize your campaigns. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying you shouldn't use any of those platforms. I use them all, but there's a way to use it where you can play a different game than everyone else in your industry and all of your competitors, and actually own and control your data so that you're able to not be limited by retargeting windows changing. You're not limited by their ability to target people you want. And ultimately, your growth isn't being hurt by any changes that they make. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through how we're doing this at the moment. And what I want you to walk away with is how to use identity resolution to do retargeting for you. And I'll walk you guys through how we do that. Identity resolution, for those of you that don't know, is just simply when someone comes to your website, how do we figure out who that person is without an opt-in? We want to resolve their identity. And if we figure out who that person is, then we can retarget them on any platform we want. And I'll show you how we do that with our technology. How to take that and build customer lookalike audiences that decrease your customer acquisition costs by an average of 70%, as we're seeing with our e-com stores right now. I'll also go through how we recover abandoned carts and people coming to your website using email. So if we're able to resolve the identity of people coming to your website, let's say you convert 2% of people that come to your website right now. That means there's 98% of people that you don't know and that you're not reaching out to because they didn't buy. But what if we could figure out who they are and get their email and send them an email and say, hey, I just saw that you made it to the page to buy this, but you didn't actually buy. Here's a special offer just for you, and get 20% of those people that didn't buy to then buy that product, and by proxy increasing your overall conversion rate on your actual website. And then last but not least, using AI to identify in-market buyers for any product, and really replacing Facebook, well, not replacing, but helping Facebook and Google's algorithms do a better job by providing your own targeting and bringing it to the platform so you own and control it, and you can manipulate that data and let their AI really do what it does best, instead of costing you money. So if anyone has any questions on that, or wants to know more about what those terms are, we're gonna go into it, but feel free to drop any questions below. And just a little bit about me. Let me go back here. Sorry about that. So just a little bit about me. I've built 4 companies over the last 4 years, multiple that are doing a couple million a year. Started my first business from my mom's bedroom when I was 22. I'm a college dropout. I didn't really have any skills, coming out of college. And so internet marketing and digital marketing has honestly saved my life and given me a purpose. And that's really why I'm here with you guys today, is to kind of share some of the things that I've learned over the course of the last few years doing that. I'm working with a lot of different e-com brands, Fortune 100 companies, coaches, consultants. I'm a little bit of a digital nomad and love traveling, love meeting new people. And so, I'm really excited to be here today. And thank you, Venkat, and the whole team for having me here. So just going into this a little bit deeper, I'm going to kind of give you an idea of where, most businesses that I'm seeing. So we work with e-com brands that, do clothing, they do different types of toys, all kinds of crazy stuff. And on average, most sites convert around 2% of people coming to the site. I'm just going to give you an image of what most businesses look like before iOS 14 and then after iOS 14, and then how you can change your business using intent data. And we'll use this example for the whole presentation. So I just want you guys to have these numbers in mind. But the way that most e-com stores are set up, and this is just an example, about 2% conversion rate on the site visitors. We're going to use the dog bed example because I love dogs, and I use that in all my presentations. Well, let's just say we had a hypothetical, dog bed e-com store. They're getting 500,000 visitors to their site every month. They're spending about 400 grand in ad spend. Average order value is about $100. Monthly revenue is $1 million. Their margins are 50%. Return on ad spend is about 2.5% or 2.5x. And then profit, they make about 500K. Net new customers, given those metrics, is 10,000, and customer acquisition cost is around 30. And we'll come back to this and kind of go back and forth between where most companies are at and where you can get to. But basically, for a lot of brands we work with, they start out around here. And after iOS, a lot of them had their customer acquisition costs essentially double. Now, you guys might not have this exact problem. It might have just increased a little bit, but pretty much everyone's been impacted negatively by the changes on Facebook. And so, a lot of your stores might be looking like this, where your customer acquisition cost has doubled and you've gone from, making a pretty good profit to, making about half of that. And so I want to essentially walk you guys through how you can solve that with data and how we can get these numbers up. And really what I like to look at first is what we can control and what we can't control. So in this example, we're really just looking at pulling what I like to call growth levers. So we want to increase the average conversion rate of people coming to your site without increasing your ad spend. So if you didn't change anything you're doing right now, and we were just able to convert more people, then all of your other metrics are going to go up, and that's your outputs. So your customer acquisition costs is the other lever we're trying to work on. So we want to decrease that by providing better targeting to the platforms that you're already on and allowing you to build better retargeting campaigns. And until you do that, and until you get those metrics where you want, I really don't even recommend, scaling up your ad spends, especially if your numbers have gotten worse since iOS 14, because spending more money on ads isn't going to change the other metrics. And so if we can get your average conversion rate up, your customer acquisition costs down, then you would want to scale your ad spend, because now you know your numbers. And so in the example that I'm going to walk you guys through, the market's going to stay the same. So I'm doing this as if you guys were basically starting from step one. You don't change anything about your market. You don't change your average order value. You don't change your margins or site visitors. And we're just going to focus on these two things. And that is going to influence and increase your monthly revenue, your profit, net new customers, and your return on ad spend. So the first step to really doing that is just understanding what influences what. So just to kind of recap what we're trying to do here, we want to decrease our overall customer acquisition costs to maximize your profit, return on ad spend, and increase the number of net new customers per month without increasing ad spend at all. So if you just start from what you're doing right now and you don't change anything, you're going to get better results. We want to, at the same time, increase conversion rates using the email retargeting that I spoke about earlier. And we want to add on, basically increase your conversion rate by 1% to 2%, which if you're only converting 2% right now, that basically means you double your business by just simply changing that one metric. So the small changes oftentimes have, the biggest results. And then once those two things are nailed and you have your conversion rates up, then that's when you would want to increase your ad spend. And that's how you can really scale up fast. And we do this in a matter of weeks. So it's a very fast process once you start implementing it. And so the first step of kind of how you would implement something like this is using what we call our site visitor pixel. So our site visitor pixel, and let me just pull this up here, is a pixel just like the Facebook pixel that you would basically put on your website. And what it allows you to do is, instead of relying solely on Facebook's pixel or solely on Google's tracking or whatever it is, we actually are able to resolve the identity of people coming to your site. So if you're doing remarketing campaigns right now on Facebook, obviously you're limited to a certain time frame, and you're only getting, the data that Facebook gives you. But what if you could actually unlock every person that's coming to your website, know who they are, where they're from, and get their email, and then be able to retarget them on Google or YouTube or Facebook or wherever you want? That's really what we're talking about doing. So by just using one thing, just the pixel alone, the way that we're able to identify people, so let's say you're just simply running ads right now and you want to start to do better retargeting campaigns. The way that we do it is, every time someone visits your website, we have about 320 million contacts in our database. And so every time someone comes to your website, we essentially fire up the pixel and we check to see if we have that person in our database. And right now it's only based in the US. But what you're going to end up with is basically a data feed of everyone that's coming to your website. So it kind of looks like this. Sorry, apologies. I think I'm in the same screen here. So using the pixel, we'll get their email, we'll get first name, we get last name. We'll also be able to see which pages they went to, and we'll be able to see, where they were from. So by just adding the pixel onto your page alone, it's going to have a huge impact on your business. And then what you can do is we take these leads that are coming to your website and we start to upload those back into Facebook. So just real quick down in the chat box, how many of you guys are doing retargeting campaigns right now? I just want to see real quick, like what percentage of you guys are actually doing this already, and we can dive a little bit deeper. And maybe Venkat from previous presentations.
So I'm gonna go down a limb and say 70 to 75% of our customers do Facebook ads, and hopefully a lot better after the last webinar, and probably even better after this webinar.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so if you're doing ad campaigns, I mean, more than likely you're already doing retargeting, which is great. So with the site visitor pixel, it literally just that you put it on your website, and every time someone comes to your site, we resolve the identity of that person, we pass it back to you, and you just have a live sheet of those people. And you can take this and upload it into Facebook or Google or YouTube or any platform you want. And if you want to get fancy with it, what you can do is basically filter out people that have come to specific pages. So if they came to your homepage and they didn't go any further, you might want to run a specific retargeting campaign just for them, or send them a specific email. Or if they made it all the way to add to cart, you're going to want to show them a different ad. And this is really what hyper personalizing the customer journey looks like, is based off of where they came and where they got to in your funnel. You want to show them a relevant piece of content that helps them basically take the next step. So straight off the bat, that's something simple that everyone can do and utilize. And obviously you own this data forever, so you're not limited by time or what you can actually do with it. And then just going into the email stuff a little bit more, we have an integration with Integromat and Zapier. So inside, like once you install the pixel on your site, you can actually set it up to, as you saw here, automatically push into Google Sheet. So now I've got a running list of all my site visitors and where they went to. And then we can create, basically this is just a routing sequence where if they got to the add to cart page and they didn't make it to the thank you page, then we're going to send them a personalized email. And it might look something like this. I'll just give you guys a quick example. So this is what we do for our platform, Iiintent.io. Obviously, it's not e-com, but I'll simply reach out and say, hey, my team let me know that you came to our site. Every visitor is important to us. And then I'd shoot them a quick video and tell them, why they should book a call. Now for e-com, this would just be something like, hey, we noticed you came to our site, but you didn't check out. And then again, give them a very specific offer that is relative to, what it is that they're actually looking at. And you can automate all of that through Integromat. I'm happy to dive deeper into that if you guys want to do that on this call at the end, or we can do it on another training on like the technical setup where I can film a Loom video on how to do it. But what you would do is, send them an email, and then you can automatically add them to a custom audience on Facebook. So if you already have custom audiences set up or retargeting set up on Facebook, you just come in here and you connect those, and you can route your leads to different places based off of their behavior and which pages they made it to, etc. So, that's really getting into the more advanced stuff. Can everyone just, let me know if you have any questions on that and if it makes sense, and then I can move on to kind of the next strategy for you here. Or Venkat, is there any questions you guys have that I could answer that would be helpful for everyone on this stuff?
Nothing, Chase. I think we can
go
on. Like if we are not getting any questions, we can.
Perfect. Awesome. And so, once you're starting to resolve the identity of people on your site, the next thing that we can do here is we can start tapping into different types of groups. And we call this like social shared experience mapping. So let's just say, for example, going back to our example of the dog owner, or sorry, the dog store owner. So if we're selling dog beds, then we're probably going to want to go out to people that like dogs. Now on Facebook, there's tons and tons of groups that are all about dogs and people loving their dogs and all that kind of stuff. And the other the other side of our platform is we can take in specific types of data and give you back email or contact information that you can upload into ads. So for example, if you were a dog bed store owner, you might want to go after everyone in these dog bed groups. Or if you're selling t-shirts to fitness guys, you might want to go after all the fitness groups, whatever it is. You can basically give us Facebook UIDs or URLs, and we'll give you back the emails that you need to run traffic to them. And so what that means is you can basically hyper niche down and find the exact groups where your people are hanging out and your top customers. And just by using better data, you're going to basically be able to cut your customer acquisition costs down because you're feeding Facebook better data to begin with than it has on its own. Because Facebook and Google can only look at their own data, and they're really not optimized for that initial window of figuring out who you want to go after. So as most of you probably know, when you go into Facebook with a new product or something like that, it takes 6-8 weeks or a couple of months for Facebook to actually even figure out who it is you're going after, and for you to establish your baseline costs and kind of what it's going to look like for that campaign. So imagine just being able to build an audience of people from your site visitors and from people in niche groups, and then you upload that into Facebook and Google, and you start to build lookalikes off of that. And what that does is it tells Facebook and Google from the beginning, here are the exact people, just like if you were to upload a customer list that's already bought from you, you're saying, here are the exact people that I want to go after. Now just simply go find more people with similar behaviors on your platform. And so you cut down the 2 to 3 month window of figuring out who you're trying to target, and Facebook and Google can do it in a matter of days. So we literally see campaigns, drop customer acquisition costs 50-70% in the first week just by feeding better lookalike data into Facebook. Now, it's not even saying directly targeting those people, which you can also do. And what I recommend doing with both your site visitors and if you were to do like a Facebook group audience, is creating a lookalike audience and a retargeting campaign for both. And that way you can really split test and get down to the nitty gritty. But at this point, if you're doing those Facebook groups, you can continue to reuse that data over and over. And after a while, you're going to already have a pretty big list of people coming to your site that have gotten to the thank you page. So step 3 in this process, so you start with your site visitors, then you can do the Facebook groups. And once you have enough people that have come to your page, your thank you page, and have actually purchased, you would want to just simply filter down, everyone that's got to the thank you page, which you can just do, by coming in here into Google Sheets. You export that. And once you have 100 or 200 of those people, upload that back into Facebook as a lookalike audience and start to run campaigns to that, because you're literally giving Facebook and Google exactly who you want to go after. And if you use that on your like top of funnel marketing, you're going to be able to get a much lower cost per click and therefore a much lower customer acquisition costs. So that's a really simple way that you can utilize different groups and social stuff to be able to amplify your campaigns. Let me just come down here real quick. So does anyone have any questions on how the site visitor or retargeting stuff would work for Facebook? Feel free to drop in the chat if not, and I'll kind of keep going here.
Chief, I have a question. So you are going through the whole thing. I just when do I really start getting into this stuff, like in terms of total number of visitors, total number of customers?
Yeah.
If I put in 1,000 pieces of data into the system, is that going to result in I mean, like, obviously the more number of data points that you input, the better data you're going to get out. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, the more data that you have, the better. And like, again, if you set this up, you can automate everything. So, like, the more site visitors you get and the more people that end up coming to different pages, you can just keep pushing them into your campaigns and they'll just literally keep getting better. And like overall, again, just setting this up really simply and not even, changing anything else about the campaigns. Usually you'd see, like a 70% drop without increasing ad spend. And then from there, and I'll just show you kind of what that would look like in our example. So from post iOS, we were at about customer acquisition costs of 60. So if you started implementing just the stuff that I gave you so far, you'd be looking at somewhere between 50 to 70% decrease overall. And we've seen that across all different industries. And what that allows you to do is you take the same ad spend and you go from where you were before and you basically 4x your ad spend, and you're able to, more than 4x your total revenue, which then influences your profit. So we went from, let's say pre-iOS, this is like an average e-com store, 2% conversion rate, 2.5 return on ad spend to about 5.5x return on ad spend. And so that's really, after the first month or so, this is 100% possible. And the only thing that changes for your store is just how many visitors, like you would put in your own metrics here and you could kind of calculate out what it would look like. But if anyone has specific examples, I'm happy to go through it. I saw one person had their hand up for a question. So I can't remember who it was. Did you see that one, Venkat?
I think that was for the
Abhishek.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Chase. Congratulations for the product what you have made. It's a really great product. I have one question, a very basic question. Basic question. Like the automation part, which you have shown that we can do the personalized emails and the data entry to the Facebook. So does it will it allow us only one logic, or we can add more logic to it?
You can add more logic to it. So with Integromat, my platform, all it does is serve as basically the trigger. So every time there's a new lead, we push it through to you, and you can route that wherever you want. So I can add on, whatever different, any platform you want. So if you want to go, Pipedrive, or I'm not sure what you're selling or how you're tracking it, but you would just keep extending these out. So like, for example, I have like a homepage one. You could create one for literally every product page and every variation. And then you have ads and ad sets that line up with each of those behaviors. And that's how you can really hyper personalize the engagement based off of where they're at. And absolutely, you can keep building these out as far as you like.
Okay. And can we add your pixel to the Shopify store also?
Yep. So there's a custom tracking area in Shopify, and you just drop it in there, and it'll tag all the pages, and then you're good to go. You would just set up this in Integromat. You could also use Zapier, but if you're trying to do something more complex, I recommend like let our pixel trigger route it to Google Sheet that tracks everything. So you have a live updated sheet, and then use the router function in here to create all your different outputs to where you want them to go.
Got it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Does that make sense to answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
One very basic question. I don't know whether it is like a question to be asked or not, but then also I'm going to ask you that question. The very basic thing what you told me about that, told us about that Facebook and the Google, they have their own pathway to detect the customer and do that. They do not reveal the details of the customer, whereas your software reveals that details, right? In the same way, if like let us say like Facebook is not revealing the data of the customer, but then also they are making the lookalike by themselves, right?
So whenever you upload, like if you had pre-set up like custom audiences, all you're doing is just adding that email to that audience. So Facebook, Facebook doesn't give you the contact info because they can't, but because I own the database, what you're doing is kind of creating a feedback loop. So every time someone comes and hits the pixel, I give you the info and then you're re-uploading that into Facebook, and Facebook knows who that person is based on their email. Even though they don't give you that info, they do have that info, obviously, because they're, you know, collecting emails all the time. And then it's just a circle. So once you upload it, then they come back to the site and then it just keeps going around. That makes sense.
But no, my question is here is that, like, in case like Facebook is already having that data, and they are also doing the ad for the lookalike, right? And you are giving that data to us, which we are feeding to this Facebook. So how it is curtailing the time limit? What you said from 60 days to the 7 days.
So whenever you're using Facebook, like Facebook interest targeting, so if you're using Facebook interest targeting on your own from scratch, you're not really creating an audience based off of behavior traits. You're basically using what limited knowledge they have of interaction on Facebook to create that audience. So doing that versus just uploading people that have already visited your, you know, specific pages, or people that say have already gotten to the thank you page, and using that as a custom audience as your base for the top of the funnel, you're going to get much faster results, because instead of having Facebook figure it out, you're saying, here's the exact people with the exact behavior traits, just find more of these people and don't target anyone else. Versus, hey, go try to target everyone and then whittle down the audience and try to figure out who I want to go after. Because that's what Facebook's doing on their end.
Got it. Got it.
Does that
Now
make
it is more
sense?
clear to me. Yeah. Now it's more clear to me. Thanks you.
So
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Chase, let's take the questions, save the questions for the end. So yeah.
No worries. Cool. So just one last thing to kind of walk you guys through, and then we can do some Q&A. Let me just come down here real quick. So the site visitor pixel and everything that we can do there is great. Obviously, we can do the Facebook groups, but what we really do best, and kind of what we've been working on over the past 10 years, is building out what we call in-market targeting using AI. And the way that that works is based off of Google search. And so let's say that you're an e-com store selling dog beds, and you want to figure out who is actually searching in real time or looking to buy a dog bed in real time on Google. And you want to know who all those people are and where they're at in the customer journey. That is essentially what we're able to do here. And we give you a lead score for every person. I'll kind of walk you through how that works. But the best way to think of it is you're creating a set of keywords that, you know, for us, if you give us 10 keywords where every time someone searches that keyword, we know 95% of the time they're probably looking to buy your product or something like it. So if I'm a dog bed e-com store owner, I would want all the people who are typing in on Google best dog bed to buy, or best, you know, dog bed 2021, and I would come up with a bunch of terms like that. Now, what our AI does is we take those terms and we create about 10 to 20,000 of those different phrase match terms, and then we pull together all the identities of people actively searching for those specific terms, and then we look at their behavior across the internet and basically score who we think is most likely to buy that product based off of the parameters we give our AI. And so what that means is you're essentially able to take your total addressable market of people who would buy dog beds and figure out who is the 3% or the 10% that are actually in market right now, based on recency and behavior across over 5 billion websites. So we pull in about 40 billion behaviors per day. And so looking at all those behaviors and figuring out who's in the market for specific products is basically what our technology does. So an end market lead is generally aware of the problem, where they're, you know, trying to define the problem and looking at solution options. Your site visitor leads are, you know, looking at solutions already. They're already kind of going through that selection process. And so these are really like hotter leads that are more ready to buy. And the end market is going to allow you to go from, okay, I'm doing site visitor and retargeting people in my world, but now I want to look at the whole entire internet and find everyone else who's looking to buy my product. That's basically what the end market campaign does. And so for any product that you have, you can basically build out the entire customer journey of people going through the buying process for that product. And then we feed you the people that are most likely to buy. So I'll just kind of show you a quick example here of what that looks like. So it's going to be pretty similar to what we went through before. The only difference is that it will come through with a lead score. That lead score is based off of how many behaviors they actually took online. So if they went to 10 different dog bed sites already and they came to my website, their lead score is going to be super high. We do it on a scale of 1 to 10. So anyone less than a 5, we don't give you because we don't have enough data to say they're truly in market. If they're above a 5 and they're say, 5.5 or whatever it is, that means they've had at least 10 to 50 behaviors online that lead our AI to believe that this person's in market. And since it's AI, it just gets better and better as it processes more data. But what we do is we tell you which keyword that they came in for. So if it's best dog bed, great, and they're a 9, and they're a 9, then that means that person's probably really looking to buy right now. So using the same model as before, you can route those leads to a specific audience and run a conversion campaign of the people actively looking to buy right now. And you segment them based off of which keywords. So if they came in for best dog bed, run an ad that says best dog bed and it's them, and get them to convert on your store because they're already looking for a solution. Now, if someone's at a lower lead score, like 5 to 6.5, they're probably just entering their customer journey. They may not even know what solutions are out there just yet. So you would want to run like a brand awareness or engagement campaign and put them into a different bucket until their lead score gets high enough. Same thing with like 6.5 to 7.5, exact same concept. It's like breaking it up into top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So the people in the middle are in the middle, and the people that have the highest lead score, those are the people that are at the bottom of the funnel and more likely ready to buy right now. And so what we do is we update these real time every day. So every day you'll see their lead scores going up and new people getting added to the list as more people become in market for your product. So it's just another tool that you can use in your toolbox. So you can start with site visitor, get really great results, absolutely crush your customer acquisition costs you have now, fix the retargeting problem. And then step 2, start to use groups and different things like that to further increase the effectiveness of your targeting. And then once you're ready for it, then you want to address your entire market and identify everyone who's looking to buy. And you're going to be able to basically undercut the competition because you're using AI to predict who's in market, and your competitors aren't getting that information because Facebook and Google don't have that information. They're not looking at the data in this way. And so it's a really great way to just, scale up once you get the ball rolling. But yeah, with that, I'll hand it over to Venkat and we'll do some Q&A. That's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I hope it was valuable and that we can answer some questions here for you.
That was wonderful, Chase. So I'm gonna shoot the first question. So I was just wondering, does this mean iOS 14 updates have little to no impact if people start using this?
Yeah, so if you use the Pixel, like I would still use the Facebook Pixel and do both, but you would basically have your own Facebook Pixel. And instead of not knowing who they are, you just know who they are. And as a lot of you guys probably know, Facebook's Pixel isn't necessarily always 100% clean and effective and have great data. So you're actually cleaning out the data that you're feeding back in your campaigns.
Okay. So yeah, guys, feel free to drop your question in the chat box.
Cool. So I think, one of the questions that we get, all the time is just what's the easiest way to get things set up. So a lot of what I went through is new concepts and stuff that most people aren't doing right now. So as like a step one for anyone who's just trying to figure out how to digest this and like put it into action, would literally just be installing the Pixel. And don't even worry about setting up all this fancy stuff. All you need to do is just get a Google Sheet up and running, and it takes 2 minutes. And just start tracking the people coming to your website. And after a couple of days, just start re-uploading them into Facebook as lookalikes and custom audiences. If you just do that and start there as step one, you're going to get really good results, and probably 70% of the results you're going to get are just going to come from that one thing. So yeah, if you're wondering where to start, that'd be step one, and then come back and watch the training again and go to step two and figure out, okay, should I use the groups or should I do the in-market campaigns? And they both have different benefits, and they both work different for different niches. So it really depends on what you're selling and kind of where you're at in your business. But if you're unsure of which one would apply to you or which one would help, happy to go through some use cases if you want to drop your products in the chat.
So, based on your experience, like which industries have seen, really good results after they started using this?
Can you say that last part one more time? Sorry, I broke up.
Are there specific industries, like boutiques, food, fashion? Are there specific industries that see, some do better than the other? Is that the case, or does that even make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it definitely depends on what you're selling. If you're doing something that has a lot of search volume, then that's usually a good sign. And if it's like recency based, where people, they want it now, those are going to be the best audiences. E-com is usually the best. If you're looking for people with like a specific job title and a specific income, an end market may not be the best thing for you. You might want to go the Facebook group route instead. But for e-com, Facebook groups and end market tend to both work really well. And then everyone can use the site visitor, obviously. So I just look at it as site visitors like your own little world. And then the end market in the Facebook is like, all right, now I want to go find everyone else in the market.
Makes sense. Oh, the question box is empty. Looks like.
No worries.
Yeah.
Hopefully that means everyone got value out of it.
Absolutely. Like I definitely, I would say I definitely got a lot smarter than I was like for 45 minutes back. So I definitely had to take something out of it. So Chase has given us, thank you for staying until the end. And as a feat of Chase has given Vajro customers a special discount. I'll be sending it to you over the email. I'll also be sending the recording to you. So that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chase.
Thanks, guys. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.